And now, for the most famous words in marble sports, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, the Seaman.
Marbles, start your engines!
MSPN's coverage of the inaugural season of NASMARB brings us to Hyper Speedway. The Lightspeed 400. Hello friends, Ricochet here. Glad to be with you for the second race of the NASMARB season, and we will begin with a race-off between Prime and Winx right here. This is for the 1 seed. Prime has the advantaged line based on the laps run during the qualifier. However, it is going to be Winx that pulls out to the lead. A turn attempt by the 8. Can't get it done, and Winx will become the 1 seed. So for the second straight race, Prime will be the 2 seed. However, that worked out pretty well, as Prime won our first race at Spiral Speedway. And what was the Spiral 360? This, though, is the Lightspeed 400 Group 1. It's the 1 seed Winx, Sal, and Jeff Marbin. And across the line, it is Winx advancing with the win. And now we'll go one-on-one. As you first have a look between Sal and Jeff Marbin, a little bit of contact, and that allowed the number 1 seed, the 13 car of Winx, to take the lead. It looked like Sal was gaining a little bit at the end. Now he'll go one-on-one with Jeff Marbin. Marbin has struggled to start the year, and that will continue as a spin at the end will cost Marbin any chance to advance. It is the number 2 of Sal moving on. And one more look, you see some hard contact into the side door there. And then Marbin just can't keep the car straight no matter what, and really slowed it down at the end. An easy advancement for the 2. Speaking of 2, here's Group 2. It's going to be Prime, Mozilla, and Woodpecker. This is a tough matchup for the 43 of Woodpecker, taking on 2 of the top 3 finishers from our first race. And a lot of contact. Prime and Mozilla. It's going to be Mozilla coming across the line first to advance. As the 66, you'll get another look at it. Initially took an early lead, got turned there by the Dave's Motors machine of Woodpecker, and then hard contact into the side of the 8 of Prime would not allow that number 8 to hold off that advancement by the 66. A much cleaner race that time and an easy win for Prime. So Prime will advance after narrowly missing out on the 1 seed. Has to go one-on-one in order to take out Woodpecker. And so Woodpecker, who finished in 16th in our first race, will not advance to the second round here. Group 3 is Electro, Bloodstorm, and Nugget. Bloodstorm, this is their first time actually in an event in the middle there in the 86 Flare machine. Electro, for a time, had the fastest lap. They will take the win here. And very slowly coming across the line is Nugget. So Electro in the 93 for OB Racing will advance. You can see Nugget initially very slow, and it just looked like clearly the 93 of Electro was just the fastest car on the track, at least on that one. Clearly faster than Nugget. We'll see if Nugget can perhaps do a little better here, and we'll see what you get from the 86. And spinning is Bloodstorm, but they're still going to come back and make the pass on Nugget. And Bloodstorm into the next round. And Nugget, after a 4th place finish at Spiral Speedway, tried to clip, and it worked for a moment, clipping that 86, but then Nugget couldn't keep itself straight, and that cost them. Disappointing finish there for the 16. Here's Jack Tato, and then Steve and Earl. The 12, 89, and 33. Oh, it looked like off the course. Oh, it's a very close race at the end, and it's going to be Steve that advanced as Jack Tato came off the course, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there he went. Contact with Steve, and then at the end it was tight. And you can see there. Oh, wow, Steve really out of control. You can see that hard impact as you could... Oh, man. Tough hit for Jack Tato. We'll have to go one-on-one now against Earl. Boy, that one hurt. And you could see Steve was really out of control if that course was a little longer. And now Earl in trouble and will not advance. It's going to be Jack Tato in the 12. And Earl will not get out of the first round with an early mistake. And wow, I don't even know what happened there. Just went sideways and ran the majority of the course backwards, which sometimes can help, but not in that case. Here's Group 5 now. Neptune, Streamer, and Lemon Drizel. Neptune in the 11, and there's contact between the 11 and the 26. Lemon Drizel going to take the win and advance the first one there, taking advantage of the other two going at each other. You could see, yeah, the 11 just turned the 26, and as long as Drizel was able to keep it clean, which he did, there was no chance for either to catch up. So now they'll go one-on-one from opposite sides, and again there's contact, and it's going to be Neptune as the 26, unable to advance. Streamer in the debut of the Carl Racing Company car, going to go down in the first round, and a lot of contact the entire way between those two. See if that boils over after this race as we move on to Group 6. This is Murakami in the 4. Quillo, our runner-up from last week, and last week's pole sitter, the 25 of Spitzer. And it is going to be Whoa! Uh-oh! It's Murakami, but Murakami exits the car. Boy, was that a dangerous scene. The car breaks in two, and the marble ends up on the ground out of the cockpit. We'll have to look and see how that happened. It was a pretty easy win there for the 4. And hard contact between the 4 and the 25. And that is a disaster for Murakami. Hopefully all right, as Quillo will easily take out Spitzer here. And Spitzer hard again into its opponent. That time Quillo with no damage suffered, but another hard hit levied by the 25 against an opponent that had already finished the course. And maybe some sideways looks after that. In the same spot. Boy, was that tough. And so Murakami is going to be okay and able to continue. Taking on Bloodstorm there. The rest of the matchups, Winks and Steve, Jack Tato and Sal. Prime against Lemon Drizel. Those are the top ones. And we'll start in Stage 2 with Winks and Steve. The 13 and the 89, number 1 seed against one of the fan favorites. And Steve gets out to the lead, but here comes Winks. Upside down goes the Maobao machine, and the 13 takes the win. And we'll take a 1-0 advantage. Steve had it for a little bit, but then kind of just lost control of the car. Similar to that initial run in the first round. Lost control. Ooh, lucky to stay on the course, as you see from our angle down at the finish line. They'll go again, invert lanes here. Winks gets out to the lead, and Winks is going to sweep this one away. An easy win for the 1 seed as Winks will take it 2-0 over Steve. Steve finished 6th in our first race. We'll have a lower finishing point than that here. As that, not much to say about that one. Pretty cut and dry there. Here's Jack Tato and Sal, the 12 and the 2. Jack Tato finished just 17th. Sal finished 13th at the Spiral 360. Jack Tato takes an early lead and an easy win. That was a dominant run there. Never made contact with the other car. Steve ends up coming across backwards, but it didn't matter if he had run the best race of his life. I don't think he was going to beat Jack Tato there. They'll invert lanes. Contact here. And again, it's Jack Tato. It'll be another sweep. Easy win again for the 12. And Jack Tato moves on to the next round. You can see that contact early initiated by the 2, but did not work out. And again, out of that final turn backwards for Sal. Jack Tato with a convincing run. Now Prime, our defending champion, our points leader against Lemon Drizel. And it is Drizel coming away with the first one. And a 1-0 lead over Prime, who is the 2 seed in this tournament yet again. Just like at the Spiral 360, and some contact with the rear of the 3 car may have been what sent Prime around. Let's have another look at it from down near the finish line. You can see there was some contact. And then a great look at the cockpit there. A little blurry, but still great view of Drizel. And Drizel is going to make it another sweep, knocking out Prime, who will not win back-to-back races. Lemon Drizel avenging a 14th place finish last time. And again, initiating the contact. Got ahead, though, and cleared the 8. Nothing Prime could do. Slow at the end of the course, but it was over by the time that happened anyway. Now we get Neptune against Mozilla. So the first place finisher is out. Now here's the third place finisher, the 66 from last week. And they are in some trouble. Closer, but unable to finish ahead of the 11 of Neptune. And Neptune, who had some hard hits in that first round, but survived, takes the advantage. However, it is Mozilla fighting back with a win to force a deciding third heat. Inverting back to the initial lanes. Neptune by a mile, but here comes Mozilla fighting back, and I think Mozilla got him. We'll have to look at the replay. Looked like it was a pretty easy lead, but a bad last turn, and I believe that is Mozilla as they come across the line. One more time. Wow, look at how close that was. Wow, that is as tight as it gets. It is Mozilla. And look at you can see on the screen there how small of an advantage that is for Mozilla. The 66 just barely able to get past the number 11 as Electro will take on Quillo. Electro, the 3 seed, Quillo, the defending runner-up. And it will be Electro on the first one. Quillo, one of the fan favorites here, but it's the 93 that takes the lead. 1-0. Again, this is a best 2 out of 3. You just saw it can come down to just not even close to an inch. Ooh, some contact there. Both are able to stay pretty straight, and it's Electro that gets the win and advances. The 93 further than ever in this tournament. Finished 10th last week. We'll do better than that at least here this week at the Lightspeed 400, and it is almost at the speed of light. These cars are moving fast. Coming up, we will have Murakami against Bloodstorm. We'll be right back after this. You're watching MSPN's coverage of the Lightspeed 400 at Hyperspeedway.
Are you craving more Marvel sports? Come and join the MSW podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Listen to Marvel Guy and Mr. Woff talk about all of the hottest Marvel topics. Come and explore the Marvel Sports Worldwide podcast.
As we welcome you back here to MSPN's coverage of the Lightspeed 400 at Hyperspeedway. Ricochet, glad to be with you here, as this is now a matchup between Murakami and Bloodstorm. It is an all Bladestar matchup. Bloodstorm did not make the tournament last time. Now they're taking on their teammate, trying to get further in this tournament. Close across the line the first time. And we'll have to see who took that one. Have to look at the replay here. And I think that Bloodstorm got him at the end. That happened earlier with Mozilla, and it ended up being the winner. And yep, that's going to be Bloodstorm. The 86 is going to take the first heat. So Bloodstorm leads at 1-0. Bloodstorm gets out to the lead. Can they hold it? They can. Bloodstorm, with a huge redemption story, moves on after not qualifying and, in fact, placing last. From our first race, they are now into the third round. An impressive run. And you wonder how Bladestar Motorsports feel. I would say probably pretty good when their lowest car is able to get further into this tournament here. In the Lightspeed 400, you got Winx against Lemon Drizel. Electro will take on Bloodstorm. Jack Tato against Mozilla. We're down to 6. The 1, 3, and 4 seeds are all left. Then you've got some pretty high seeds left as well. Stage number 3 of the Lightspeed 400 begins with the number 1 seed Winks in the 13 for Bladestar Motorsports, driving the Flare car against Lemon Drizel. Drizel takes the lead. Drizel will get the advantage and take a 1-0 lead. Lemon Drizel has all of the accolades of one of the better drivers in this field. Did not pay off last time. A disappointing 14th place finish. However, they've got the advantage again. They are going to do it. Both cars a little out of control there. As a really slow finish for Winks. You can see just how sideways both the cars were. Drizel ahead again. And that will do it. It was a best out of 5, and it's a 3-0 sweep for Lemon Drizel. And a pretty convincing one at that. Drizel outraced thoroughly, I would say, Winks in the 13. Now Electro against Bloodstorm. Electro in the 93 for Texas Rollhouse. Another Flare car on your screen right now, and another Flare car unable to finish. The 86, plagued by that in the first race, costing a chance to actually compete in the tournament. Definitely much further along here, but a disappointing start to this stage as spinning over and over and over again along that backstretch. Electro takes an early lead. They'll invert lanes, contact early on, and again, off the course! Instead goes Electro, landing back on his wheels. Bloodstorm ties it up at 1 apiece. They made contact but stayed pretty straight. And then just too wild out of the last turn for Electro. Off the course. Lucky to land back on his wheels, and it's Bloodstorm who will come away with the win because of that. Evens up at 1 apiece. Whoa, more trouble, and it is Bloodstorm who takes a 2-1 lead, and again Electro nearly comes off the course. Into the second turn with some trouble, and then just blocked for too long by Bloodstorm, who's now a win away from advancing to the final. After not qualifying last time, it'll come down to race 5 as Electro ties it up. And that right there is a new track record. Electro just ran the fastest time, a 3.83 from the inside line. That's the fastest time in track history. And now Electro, after that, I don't think that new track record is what Electro wanted to be the end point of that stage, but it will be, as Bloodstorm is going to knock out the 93 and advance all the way from not making last race into the final of this one. A great comeback for the 86. Electro's still going to have a strong finish, as now Jack Tato will take on Mozilla, and Mozilla has a chance to be the first driver to get into both finals. Jack Tato here going to take it was going to be an easy win, but pretty slow down the backstretch made it a little closer. Still enough of a win that you could tell, obviously, clearly more than a car length there, but closer than it probably needed to be. Some contact here. Mozilla is in the lead. Mozilla thrown off the course by the 12 of Jack Tato. Ooh, that was an intense collision, and it looked like just get off my course. Jack Tato has come with a vengeance against the 66 and takes a 2-0 lead. Let's have another look, and oh man, the optics aren't great if you're the 12. Whew. I'll tell you what, that was intense, and now Mozilla fights back with a win to delay an advancement and our finale being set up, at least for the moment. Mozilla trying to, again, like we said, get into the final, be the first car to do so in both races. Now taking the lead again, Mozilla going to force a race 5. What a comeback by Mozilla on these last two, doing it pretty easily. Getting away from the 12 and stretching out a pretty significant lead. It'll come down to this. Mozilla And Jack Tato takes the lead. It will be Jack Tato being pushed across the line by Mozilla, who had more steam and momentum there at the end of the course. However, the 12 blocked properly and advances to the final. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker for the 66. You can see right there the contact that was made. Still a top 6 finish, as this will be the 4th place matchup. Winner's going to take 4th. And then the 5th and 6th place, the winner of that will be 5th. The loser will end up 6th. It's Winx, Electro, and Mozilla, and it will be Winx that's going to win 4th place. Electro was out in the lead for a moment. Had a little contact there with Mozilla, and that ended up costing any chance the 93 had. So the 13 will take 4th, and then the 93 will take 5th, 6th place for Mozilla. And now Jack Tato against Bloodstorm against Lemon Drizel. It's Drizel that takes the first one. Sideways early was Bloodstorm, which really hurts Jack Tato's chances. Jack Tato was really coming up on the 3 of Lemon Drizel for Red Pandas Racing. In the lead now. Here's Jack Tato. Jack Tato might be the fastest. Oh, but here comes Lemon Drizel to take a 2-0 lead. And upside down is Jack Tato. Jack Tato might be the fastest, but it was not a very smart move. Poor handling of the car there. I would think that one's driver error got too high up into the final turn, and Lemon Drizel takes advantage. For that matter, at least in terms of who finishes second in that heat, so did Bloodstorm. But right now, Drizel has won both. Drizel is going to win all 3 to start this. A 3-0 lead, as Bloodstorm will again finish in second. That was tight there for who gets second. Again, doesn't matter. And now they will go again. Lemon Drizel again in the lead. Drizel! What a final, and that's a winner. Lemon Drizel wins the Lightspeed 400 with a dominant shutout performance in the final. We said coming in, known as one of the better drivers in the league, didn't show it at the Spiral 360, absolutely does here at the Lightspeed 400, and because Drizel won all 4 of the heats, now we get a matchup for second place between Jack Tato and Bloodstorm, and it will be Bloodstorm who comes firing back after an incredibly disappointing start to the season. It's a runner-up finish for Bloodstorm, and riding the rail was the 12. Holy cow, what a race run by Lemon Drizel. He ends up with 44 points. Bloodstorm takes second. Jack Tato, Winx, Electro the top 5. Then Mozilla, Neptune, Steve, and Murakami and Quillo are the top half of the field. Sal, Prime, Earl, Streamer, Jeff Marbin, the top 15. There are the standings. Prime is locked in. Lemon Drizel is locked in. Mozilla is the points leader right now, and plus 30 on the cut line. Then Winx, Drizel in 4th. Quillo drops to 5th. Steve, Electro, Jack Tato, Spitzer, and Bloodstorm moves all the way up to 10th in the standings. The top 12 make the playoffs. Nugget is plus 7 on that cut line. Earl right now plus 4 on Murakami, who is 13th, 4 below the cut line. Streamer 5 back, Neptune is 6, and Sal also within single digits, 9 back. Jeff Marbin, Woodpecker, Confetti, and Oak occupying the last few spots. Oak is really in some trouble, just 4 points through 2 races. A lot of momentum to be gained from this one for Bloodstorm, obviously for Mozilla, who is now the points leader, and clearly for Lemon Drizel, who has a dominant run at the Lightspeed 400, particularly in a shutout finale. And so that is all from Hyper Speedway and the Lightspeed 400. You've been watching MSBN's coverage of NASMARB. I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching.